When you're too close to your business to see the whole thing, you end up solving all the wrong problems. And today I want to show you what it looks like to actually step back and see the shape of your business and understand what needs to change first so that everything else can actually work. Hey, welcome to the podcast with Brooke. Everything I do is built around helping women whose businesses are working, but costing them everything to run. I help you get your back-end systems into a state that makes sense. So let's dig into it. Every time that I get on a call with someone, I ask the same question. What is the single most frustrating thing about your business right now in this moment? And I ask that because the answer tells me everything, not just what she thinks is wrong, but where I need to start looking and what questions I need to start asking. And usually within the first few minutes of that conversation, I can already see what's happening and understand where we're going to get this fixed. Today, I want to walk you through 4 of the most common answers that I get to that question and what I actually see and do when someone gives me each one of those answers. Most of the time, she knows exactly what her problem is. She just can't see the solution for what it might be. And that's where I come in. One of the most common answers that I get when I ask this is some version of my revenue looks completely different every single month and I never know what's coming in until it arrives. And when I hear that, this is what I start asking. I'm asking about her offer suite. What does that actually look like? What offers do you have within them? What does it cost? How long do people stay in that offer? Is there anything in your business that brings in the same amount of revenue every single month, regardless of whether you launch something or bring in a new client? What I'm looking for is whether or not she has a floor, a base offer that brings in a predictable amount of income before the month even starts. This is something that people can step into easily and stay in consistently. Sometimes what I find is that she doesn't have that offer at all, and everything she sells is a one-time transaction, which means that every dollar she makes depends on someone saying yes to something new right now. Sometimes what I find in that is that she has the right offer, but the technology around it is making it harder than it needs to be for people to get in and to stay, or the sign-up process is clunky, or the delivery is manual, the renewal is not automated, and all of that friction is costing her retention that she would otherwise have. Now, I want to be honest with you here. If the issue is that she does not have a marketing system that's bringing in people in consistently, that's not something that I fix. Marketing's not my lane. I know some great marketing people. But what I can do is look at what she has, name what I see, and make sure that the technical infrastructure around that offer is easy as possible for people to step into and for her to maintain. Because when that part works, the floor she's trying to build is actually going to hold. Another answer I get a lot is this. I have a great email list. I show up consistently. I send out good content. But when I launch something, nobody buys. And when I hear that, this is what I start asking. Do you segment your email list? Do you track clicks? When you send an email, are you asking people to actually click something, or are you just telling them to read? Do you know what their click behavior is and what it looks like? Do you have any way of separating the people who have shown interest in a specific thing from the people who have not shown interest in that thing? Because what I usually find here is she's sending the same email to everyone on her list, regardless of what they've shown interest in. And the person who clicked a link about her offer 3 weeks ago is getting the same exact message as the person who's never clicked a link ever. And that means that she's talking to everyone the same way when the people on her list are not all the same and they're not in the same space. Again, I'm not the person who's going to be able to help you to write better marketing emails or build out your conversion strategy. That's not what I do. But I can step in and help you building the technology and the structure that gives you the information that you need to do well with this, to collect that information. I can set up the segments. I can make sure clicks are being tracked. I can make sure the behavior of your list is showing what's actually happening and capture everything so that you can use it. Because right now you're flying blind, and the structure that would allow you to see this more clearly is something that I can build for you. Another thing that comes up constantly is some version of like, I feel I'm doing everything by hand and I don't know how to make it stop. And when I hear that, I start asking these questions. What happens after someone buys something from you? Walk me through it step by step. Are you manually delivering access to courses, products, services? Are you manually sending welcome emails? Are you manually adding tags and updating records? When you need to communicate with people who are currently inside of your offers, how do you do that? What's the process? Is it easy? Is it automated? Is it manual? What's happening? What I'm listening for here is where the manual labor is hiding, because it's always hiding somewhere and you're always doing more than you really need to be doing. So is it hiding in a space between platforms? Like, are your platforms not talking to each other? And are we not using things and connecting things so they can speak to each other? Does her point of sale not know what her email platform is doing, or her email platform isn't connected to her point of sale so they can send emails automatically? So you're doing these things manually and you're bridging that gap manually every single time that someone buys. When you're updating these things manually, records manually every time there's enrollment, or your calendar tool's not taking you to an onboarding sequence, you're manually sending these things every single time, and they should be going out automatically. This is a connectivity problem. And this compounds with every single launch that you do, every single sale that you have, every single new client costs you more and more effort than it should. And what I do is I can map this out and find where the gaps are and either connect what you already have or identify what needs to exist so that technology is doing the heavy lifting for you instead. And this last one's my favorite one to talk about because being a virtual assistant myself for so long, I understand the frustration from the virtual assistant side, but I also have seen and heard it from people who came in and hired me as well. It goes something like this. They say, I've hired a virtual assistant. She's great. She's reliable. She does everything I ask, but I still feel like I'm holding the weight of the world. And usually when this happens, people typically let that virtual assistant go because they think they're not a great fit. But what I hear is something completely different. So I start asking questions like, hey, do you have SOPs for things that you've handed off to her? Does your VA understand the process of all the things that you do, or does she have to come to you with questions every single time a new process comes up or something else comes up? Does she have access to what she needs without having to come to you every single time? Does she know your brand voice? Does she have all the logins and tools and resources she needs to actually do the work independently? Because here's what I actually find often. We're handing off tasks, but the knowledge we're really hanging on to because we think that we have to hold it all. We've been told we should be able to hold it all, and we've created systems that work for us, and it's very difficult to explain them to someone else. So the way things get done still lives entirely inside our own head. And so when the VA is doing her best, but she's working without a map, that leads you to a bottleneck. You're still answering questions. You're still checking the work. You're still involved in everything because there's no documentation that allows someone else to hold the process. So the VA didn't necessarily fail. The setup is what's really needing some structure and some help. And what I can do is come in and build that setup for you. I create the documentation and the structure that lets somebody else actually take things off your plate without you actually having to be available every single time something comes up. When I work with women who know exactly what their problem is, but they really can't find a solution that's working, I come in and ask very specific questions about what's actually happening operationally. I look at offer structure. I look at the email platform. I look at what the tech is doing and what the tech is not doing. I look at what happens when someone comes in to help you. And I'm going to tell you exactly what I can see, what I can fix, and what falls outside of what I do. This is the back-end audit. This is what I offer. It's 90 minutes together where I ask questions. I look at exactly what's happening, and I hand you a clear prioritized list of what needs to change and in what order. It's no fluff, no generic advice. It's someone that comes in and can see your business clearly and tell you exactly what's happening and what I can see. That's my specialty. If you want to book your own back-end audit, the link is down below, or you can comment on any of my Instagram posts with the word audit, and I'm going to send the link directly to you. I want to thank you for being here today. I will see you next week with more great information about the back end of your business.